Hello, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed all the sessions until now. Um, it is great to see all the leaders together from an industry that is poised to play such a crucial role in the way our society and economy is going to shape up in the near future. We will now have a panel discussion on a very pertinent topic, on a very pertinent issue that our industry is currently facing. So today we are going to talk about the supply-demand talent gap and how can industry, academia collaboration, alleviate the problem, right? So my first question is, a talent gap is not a problem that we have faced for the first time. We have faced this before. Uh, but the nature of data science is very fast evolving. So do you think that this problem needs to be solved a little bit differently? Ankush, your thoughts on the question?
So the same one?
Yeah, the same one.
See, first of all, talent gap is there, it's real and it's growing. And, the talent gap, I think we have been seeing since the start of these white-collar jobs. So, but when it's specific to data science, I think before the gap, I really think industry first, right? We are not yet very sure what is this data science function. So what I have seen, people say who are technically good, they have understood theory and algorithms and Python and R. Most of them are aspiring, or they are already moved to become data scientists. I have not seen many titles as data engineers, right? So the people who are expert in these algorithms and stats and maths and algebra and calculus, and they're good in programming, I think that's not just sufficient to be a data scientist, right? I think if I'm not sure how do we bridge that gap, and if our understanding is clear about the data science as a function, and if we know what should be the role of data scientist, what's the role of data engineer, and what's the role of data analyst. If we are very sure, and I think we'll be able to pass on the message, I personally believe data science is a simple function. It's very, very simple function. It's not just limited to the tech. It also needs to have the understanding of the domain. And if we as industry understand that, and I'm sure we'll be able to pass on to the academia, but how do we pass on to academia? Traditionally, the guest lectures and hackathons and summer placements, I don't think these would help. I think we'll have to think about long-term association. Say if someone is, say, doing BTech in, say, India, say, 4 years, we probably need to start the industry relationship from that time. And while they understand the theory, they also understand the practicality and the domain. So how do we do that? But I've seen a very successful use case which BFSI has done. I remember ICICI Bank, right? So you get into the training and it's a guaranteed job. So why not, right? So if someone is into a good college, he has passed on the test. So why don't we have one more layer of industry taking the test and start training from the day one or probably the next year of they being educated, not just the theory, but on the practical approach and the domain knowledge. But the problem again is in academia, do we have teachers or faculty they understand? I'm saying industry also does not understand. So how do we expect the faculty to understand that part? So I think I think forums like this would invoke thoughts, and I think we should come up with some kind of framework to first understand, and then see how do we collaborate, and see how do we actually get out of that collaboration.
Correct.
So just this, and we get a lot of students from, say, IEM and IITs, and they come for 2 months. So 2 months it's nothing, right? If someone is saying, hey, I've done a startup, I failed, I burnt all my cash, and now it didn't work. I asked today, I asked how much time you have given. He said 8 months. I said 8 months is too short to know whether you have really put your effort to achieve that. And 2 months industry internship, summer internship, I think it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned in your answer you mentioned 3 main stakeholders to create in talent, right? So education, the students themselves, and the industry. But before we go to how the industry plays a role, right? I want to talk about 2 other stakeholders. And Ankush, if you can help me understand, is the faculty an issue? Do we have too much mediocre faculty? And secondly, there's a lot of students that are forced into STEM. Are the students a problem? Are these two stakeholders, does the problem lie somewhere there?
you see, I think especially engineering college, if you see, uh, again, I have not seen if we have practicing engineers as faculty members in any engineering institute. As we see in MBBS, right, medical, most of the doctors, I think all, they are practicing doctors and they teach. So here the whole system, right? The people who teach us, the faculty. So he or she probably are. I think the most times they're not engineers themselves. So recently we interviewed a Java guy, and the guy after doing I think masters, he's now teaching, right? So he's teaching. So he was a student, right? Some people just take that academy even after the graduation. So he must be good, isn't it? He must be good because he's teaching other students, right? But he knows Java. He can create Java programs and run in the console. But if he has to deploy it, he knows Linux, he knows Java, but he doesn't use Linux when he has to use and deploy Java. You see the huge gap. He knows Linux standalone, he knows Java standalone. But if you ask you create API, create small application, deploy, nowadays so easy to span servers, deploy end to end and create an application. So that's not there. So I think it's there is a gap, and there are reasons, right? So the budget problem in the education and the support, right? Industry is not giving support much. Even sometimes you go to good institutions, you see it's Intel lab or IBM labs, but not sure how actively industry is spending time and making them enable. So there is a gap in the faculty. And so while I'm saying that, but that doesn't mean students don't have now opportunities to not just be dependent upon the faculty. And now everything is available, so they can upscale themselves and try to learn, right, to great learning in the other institutes. And I think there is a lack of direction. Again, I think these kind of forums, if we just enable that and just learning stuff in isolation, right? So if you see, I think this problem is not just the tech, right? If I just see the chef and the hotel industry, right? I've not seen many chefs coming out of a good five-star restaurant opening, successful as an entrepreneur opening the restaurant, because in the bigger companies and in the college we have isolated knowledge. There is no one person who knows everything. So I always believe in we should be jack of all. So when we are just, you be the master of one, but be the jack of all also, so that we come out as holistic engineer, not just theoretically and practically also. So it's a huge gap everywhere, but I think we cannot solve everything. But if I think the companies and organizations like AIM, so Kashyap, you yourself keep thinking about the framework. I think there is definitely a need of the framework where we can do this academia industry collaboration. And you see now, I think that the demand would increase. Atmanirbhar Bharat and Startup India, you see a lot of companies are coming up. I was just reading a survey where it was written, I'm not sure how true it is, but it's there somewhere in the internet. By 2030, there would be revenue untapped of around $164 billion because of the lack of this talent, and mostly towards the data science. So I'm saying, and again, so some people, some folks ask, and the clients say, how many data scientists you have? So sometimes I'd be funny and say, we have none, but all of our engineers understand data science, right? Think about the army, right? Even if someone is a doctor or engineer or probably office job, they all know how to deal with artillery and fight when the demand is. I think that is how we are trying. We are a very small organization. We are trying to build that. So data science is a function coming out of whatever we are doing. So just understand what is that and just try to solve the problem instead of just focusing too much on Python and R. Now there are a lot of tools ready-made. You don't need to even write the programs. You just try to understand what is the problem, right? And then you see whether you need programming or you need the ready-made tools to solve it. unless you want to become a scientist and you just solve your own way and you don't focus much on the business problem. But business problem can be solved very, very fast if you know what the kind of tools exist and just use them.
Ankush, how do we improve the communication between industry?
Yeah, so thanks for asking. I really wanted to answer this. If you see Java, right? So most of the big organizations are working on Java still, right? I think Sun Microsystems would not have gone to any of the companies who are using Java to convince them to use Java, right? So I was just reading the history. See, 1995, the Java was created. I think from 1991 to 1995, I think the James was the guy. 1996, they released the public version. 1997, just 1 year after they making the Java, they started a certification program. They started educating people, right? The book was there and certification was started. And now why Java is used, I think it's less of device, not dependent upon the device and JVM and less memory consumption. I think it was more because of the supply. Right? I'm from Jammu, and when I was doing my graduation, I'll see there were extra coaching was given to become Sun certified, something was it, Sun certified Java developer or something, right? See that I think that was the start of the success story for Java. So, are they university? They were not. So they also had it's a business, it's a company for profit, but they started this university to enable them. I understand it's difficult to start university or education when your businesses are different, but you have to think a little bigger. I think since there was everyone now, and now in the colleges, Java is being taught. Java is a technology, it's a proprietary language, right? Though it became open source for a reason. You see, right, they had to get into this education, made this as a part of the curriculum, and they're successful as a company.
Yeah.
I think we have to get into that to really see the business growing for probably longer than we have less vision, and we have to see a longer vision and be the part of it.